Thank you for joining us today for this month's small group demo. Today, we'll be looking at how you can unlock content and data for next level brand experiences. Our goal for today is that you'll have a mental model for how to think about activating your first party data so you can create those powerful brand experiences for your customers. And we'll also walk through some specific examples of how you can do this. As always, this small group demo will be recorded and you'll receive a recording in a subsequent email follow-up. You can also submit your questions at any time during this call, and we'll try to get to as many of those questions as we can. Just click into the Q&A section of your window and you can submit those questions there. My name is Ashish Joy. I'm a senior product marketing manager here at Contentstack, covering our data and personalization products. I'm joined by Drew Lanenga, who is our Senior Director of Data Products, and he's someone who's helped a variety of organizations across a wide range of industries leverage their first-party data to create these powerful brand experiences. We're really excited to be here with you today. Here's our agenda for today. We'll dig into why first-party data is key. We'll then look at the brand risk of poor data activation, and then how Contentstack solves this by allowing you to activate your first-party data easily. And then we'll walk you through how this would work within the Contentstack ecosystem. So let's dig in. We're in this era of high expectations. 80% of customers are more likely to buy from brands that offer personalized experiences, but only 15% of brand leaders feel like they're delivering this effectively. And we know that thoughtful and helpful personalization is a critical competitive advantage for brand relevance and growth. But the challenge is that most brands struggle to leverage their first-party data effectively or accurately, and this creates a host of brand challenges. Your first-party data is your brand's most important asset. Today's consumers, they expect personalized experiences, especially based on the data they've already shared with your brand. But it's a double-edged sword. When personalization is accurate, it really strengthens customer trust and engagement. But when personalization is not accurate, it does the opposite. In a recent report, Deloitte found that nearly 3 in 4 customers prefer brands that personalize, and these customers spend close to 37% more than those who don't. Most brands face data paralysis, where they have more data than ever from web visits, app interactions, buying decisions, customer support interactions, and more, but it's locked away and unused due to complexity and cost concerns. And the consequences of this include generic messaging, irrelevant offers, and poor customer experiences. So a lot of brands struggle to do anything because they're not sure if they can trust the accuracy of their personalization efforts. And this paralysis isn't just a missed opportunity. It actively limits new growth and it can damage existing customer relationships. And probably the hardest part is that it hurts your competitive advantage. But there are real brand risks associated with poor data activation. And if you don't use your first-party data right, you risk losing to competitors who do. And we've all experienced bad personalization. Maybe it's incorrect product recommendations, irrelevant ads, invasive communications. You get that email or SMS that you didn't expect. And so we've all experienced this. And I thought it'd be really fun if we could all in the chat share a time when you experienced a bad personalization experience with the brand. You don't have to say the brand, but I'd love to hear love to see if anyone has any examples of when they experienced bad personalization. You can just add it to the chat in your window here. I'll just take 10 seconds here to see what folks are saying. I'll give an example myself. Just recently, I was buying some shoes, and normally when I buy shoes, it's not like every week, but this brand felt like they needed to tell me about more shoes immediately, and so I got more shoes that I didn't necessarily need. And so for me, I like the brand, but I didn't want to necessarily experience more shoes. In a recent report, we found that 2/3 of customers say that they have had at least one personalized experience with the brand that was inaccurate or invasive. And in many instances, these experiences caused those customers to unsubscribe disengage, or simply not come back. So bad personalization, it directly impacts your brand, whether it's customer churn, higher customer acquisition costs, or wasted marketing budgets. So what are some of the causes of poor personalization? A lot of times this comes from fragmented data systems that don't speak to one another, and you're stuck trying to connect the dots. Or it can come from outdated or incomplete customer profiles where specific aspects of customer data aren't up to date or enriched. So you're personalizing in the wrong ways. It can also be because of manual processes that limit accuracy and speed. So you're not able to action on the data at the exact moment the customer needs it. So here's what you need to know. If your data isn't working for you, it's actively working against you, which can push your best customers straight to competitors who are using that first party data much better and more accurately. So, what is the solution? At Contentstack, we're acutely aware of this problem, and we make it very easy for you to activate your first party data. The reality is that you need both the content and the data to drive the right kind of personalization. Contentstack's data activation layer, it seamlessly bridges your content and your first party data. And it really helps your brand deliver personalized experiences instantly and at scale. This means that you can target audiences precisely using that real-time data and deliver unique AI driven experiences. And really, it's not just about showing the right content, but anticipating what your audience needs and serving those experiences up proactively to those consumers. So, Drew, I'm going to hand things off to you right now to dig into how Contentstack enables personalization. So, Drew, take it away.
Yeah, I'm particularly excited about this and data. So, uh, just in general, as you are trying to activate data, as Asha said, sometimes there are disparate systems, sometimes systems are out of date, and ensuring that uh, data is ready and available for activation is uh, is kind of at the tip top of importance when we're thinking about uh, personalization and making personalization meaningful and contextual. So Content Stack provides a data activation layer for all customers on which personalization sits. And what that allows is for direct integration with your web applications and your mobile applications for connections to uh, your data warehouse, wherever that might be. Additionally, hundreds of connectors available in this ecosystem. Sometimes you have the right data in place and you just need to connect it. And sometimes you don't have that maybe as rich of a first party source as you'd like, especially for your anonymous visitors. Every customer starts out as an anonymous visitor. So this data activation layer also provides activation for anonymous visitors in whatever channel they come in. So we will see kind of how to set up that data and how to connect these in just a minute when we hop into our actual demo here. So with that, I will share my screen and I am going to hop into um a content stack website. So I'm going to do a couple things here. I'm going to clear out all of my site data. So I'm going to start fresh. This is a brand new session. This site doesn't know anything about me. You may be familiar with this kind of Kickstarter uh, content stack environment. This page, this website is called Compass. You can check it out. It's one of our default starter packs. But what's cool here, uh, as I navigate around, what we'll see is a couple things. One of which is a profile on the side, which has already uh, some information about my engagement so far. But again, I'm anonymous, and so I don't have a lot of probably first party signal right here yet. It knows kind of geo. It knows a couple things about the channels that I've engaged with so far, which has just been web. Um, but we will start to build this out, and we can build this out in a couple different ways. So to the question of, hey, I don't have a lot of great first party data in place to power personalization. The data activation layer will help to provide a lot of that for you. So one thing that we'll see is as we navigate, we have some scores down here, and I'll kind of continue to navigate around. Let me reload this extension here. What I can see is already a number of interests coming up, this intent information, how likely you are to continue your engagement, your momentum, uh, the things that you're interested in. Here, I've only engaged with food so far, so I'm going to continue to do that. And I'll see that these scores, this context will update with that visitor. So we are helping to provide uh, this context and this data for that first party, um, for that visitor from kind of your own first party source. So if you don't have a great foundation on which to build personalization, you do have immediately access to these attributes that help to drive personalization meaningful. So if I go back to the website here, Contentstack personalize is helping to deliver the right experiences to the right users with the right interests. So what was once the Grand Canyon here is now food. So this is now more contextual, more relevant based off of that first party source um, that we've been uh, kind of experiencing here on the site. So there's two other really important ways to get and leverage your first party data. Um, we talked about this kind of inferential kind of enrichment based way, but you often will have also uh, a customer database that will want to integrate. And sometimes you don't have that customer database, or you want to make the experience relevant, but you don't have uh, any context for somebody like an anonymous visitor. So I was working with a uh, customer a couple of weeks ago. They are in uh, sports equipment, so they provide kind of sports equipment to both families, parents, individuals, and schools and institutions. So one thing that they wanted to do was make that experience relevant to whether or not you are a an athlete, a parent, or a coach. Um, you probably don't have access to that for the anonymous visitor. So one thing you can do is ask for it. Customers are often willing to provide that information to help make that experience more relevant. So you can do that form capture, that data capture in a number of different ways. There are lots of tools to be able to do that. Uh, the data activation layer here, in part provided by Lytics, which again you have access to within Personalize, allows you to set up form-based data capture. So I set up this form earlier, um, and I will here kind of look through this. Again, this is for more basic use cases here. This is going to be collecting email, but if I wanted to additionally add in, you know, are you a parent? Are you an athlete? Are you a coach? You could put that in here, deliver it to whoever makes sense for you to deliver that to, and then use that data to be able to make that experience relevant and uh, show content for institutions or schools, in that use case, the content that would resonate more with them. So I will exit out of this just so we can preview it. So if I'll here resume this, I'll turn on that experience. I'll kind of navigate here, and I'll see here in a second. Let me refresh some of these. Actually, sometimes the caching takes a second to update in other places. So let me uh, so this compass personalize. This is the site we're on. Uh, Here, actually, let me just paste this whole thing here. So we're seeing the delivery of this data capture mechanism. So again, there are lots of ways you can do that. But once I do that, I will put in this email address here. I've connected now this email address to that cookie here, which will allow me to uh, also then connect data that I have in a data warehouse. So maybe you have data in a data warehouse, like we were saying. This is connected to Snowflake. So I've got information about the email address I just provided. Here is other information kind of in this customer database context. So if I want to know, my loyalty stat, how many loyalty points I have here, because I connected that to uh, its profile, what I'll see now is a bunch of information. So I had a lot of inferred attributes, again, in that kind of inferred first party context. Couple that with that data capture, which can be as custom as you want it to be. But what's nice here is I've connected now that email address with my customer database table. So anytime that this Snowflake data updates, I'll be able to leverage that in my uh, inside of this web context here. So I've got my all my loyalty points, all my access to those attributes from that data source. So I could personalize now to my high loyalty point customers differently than a new customer there. So those are kind of three ways to be thinking about ways to kind of leverage first party data within the context of these experiences powered by the data activation layer. So we had inferred intent that's going to come automatically with data activation layer. The ability to connect to a data warehouse to make that data available inside of this kind of web and app context. And then three, form capture. So a lot of times, if you want to make that experience more relevant to an individual, they're willing to provide some of that context and some of that information uh, to uh, to help make that again more relevant. So with that, I will stop sharing here and hand it back to Ashish.
Yeah, thanks, Drew. We'll now kind of just for a few minutes here get into kind of the Q&A section, and just a common question, Drew, that a lot of customers have, and we hear this all the time, but when you start activating your first party data with Contentstack, what are some of the what are some of the uplifts or drivers in conversion or revenue that we generally see? What do we notice with our customers when they start activating their first party data?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different paths that customers take and a lot of different ways to get started with personalization. You know, sometimes people don't know where to get started. Um, a kind of great thought experiment, I think, along those lines are carousels. A lot of times you show a carousel because you don't have anything better. You don't know which option is going to be most relevant to an individual. And I have three, four, five things to show, and I don't know which one, so I'll kind of rotate through them. And if you see one you like, great. Um, so breaking that up into personas and relevancy and making that happen, delivering the right one to the right persona is an entry point, to get started, and you'll see, uh, typically higher engagement, higher click through, longer time on site. Um, you can take it all the way then to uh, product recommendations and some of that one-to-one level personalization that at the end of the day we do see customers getting quite a bit of lift. Whether you're uh, using that with the data activation layer, you can use that to um, personalize the on-site experiences, but then as you kind of extend beyond that with full DXP capabilities, you can start doing the same kind of thing in your email tools and your campaigns, right? Where uh, customers do get much higher engagement and much higher kind of revenue per email sent when it contains product recommendations that are relevant and contextual.
Awesome. I think another common question that comes in is, a lot of organizations already have a CDP or some sort of data warehouse or something they're using, as you already mentioned. Where does Content Stack's data activation layer sit? And does it replace a CDP? Does it layer on top? Like, generally, what do you see, Drew, with our customers?
Yeah, and I think I would say most organizations tend to they're not they're not short on data. They tend to be a little shorter on activation and leveraging that data and making that accessible to the people who need it. So, you might have a CDP and you want to use the CDP data inside of um, personalize, right? The data activation layer provides uh, it's kind of like a universal adapter. If you travel internationally, like sometimes you need adapters that look like this, and sometimes it looks like that, and you've got different kind of multiple inputs. The data activation layer makes it so that you can take data from any source, and if that's going to be a CDP, great. If it's going to be a data warehouse, great. If it's your kind of first party event stream, great. Funnels it all into the same place so that then uh, the business users using that to make the kind of personalization and content decisions have access to all of those things. So again, it's not, I don't have all of the right data in the first place. It's, I don't have access to the data where I need it.
Got it. And in your example, when you walk through, you showed the web experience, and I think in the slide we talked about the other channels. Talk a little bit about how personalization works across SMS or email or ads, or how maybe just kind of give the audience a little more window into how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. One nice thing about this kind of data activation layer as a tool driving personalization is that you can have consistent audience experiences and audience definitions across whatever channel that might come into. So um, sometimes when you're activating on different channel tools, you'll be creating the same audience in the different channel tools. And so if you update one in one place, you'll need to update it in all the others. And then there's kind of synchronicity issues where with here data activation layer, you're able to create one audience, and that might be customers likely to churn, and you want to use that for some retargeting in ads. You want to use that in a kind of win back campaign in email. You want to use that for promotion when they're on site. You have that consistent definition across wherever that needs to go. So again, like as you're thinking about personalization, usually your customer doesn't think of the engagement channel by channel. They think of just the engagement holistically with the brand. So having a consistent experience on web and in app and uh, uh, in store and their support channels, wherever that engagement happens, right? They're thinking about you as a brand and not you as a website. And so having access to the same data in all the places does facilitate that.
Right. And probably for a lot of orgs that are on this call that are thinking about personalization, you're probably wondering, where do I start? Personalization is like an entire universe of possibilities. And
Yeah.
Drew, like when we've worked with orgs in the past and even currently, what are some of those initial use cases that really help drive the business forward? Because I've heard you say this, but you got to connect kind of the functionality of like a data activation layer to a business outcome. So what are some of those initial first use cases that we see with some of our customers?
Yeah, I think these are obviously muscles within an organization that sometimes are uh, well defined and get the reps they need, but you've got to start with reps. When you go from 0 to 1, like uh, identifying what that 0 to 1 use case is, and maybe earlier, like we said, it's going to be, hey, I've got this carousel and I have these different personas. A lot of times those initial use cases revolve around, let's get our audience strategy and our persona strategy in place, have that well defined, have that consistent, and we can start creating then content more relevant to each persona. So that's exactly what personalize helps you do, is to create variants of content in a scalable way that make those experiences more relevant to the audiences you're thinking about. So definitely starting there, and it may be very simple at first, and it's inevitably going to scale out as you get the reps in, but you need the reps.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're coming up on time, so I'm just going to share my screen one more time here. So just to recap, we've talked through kind of activating your first party data for these powerful brand experiences. What are the benefits? And Drew already touched on a handful, but if I were to outline them, it'd be you can scale your personalization efforts, you can increase engagement and conversion, you can potentially reduce churn because you're connecting with your customers, and there's higher ROI on your marketing efforts. So here at Contentstack, we work with hundreds of organizations who are evolving their content and data strategy. And if your organization is looking to start doing this in a way that's real time, that's accurate and scalable, we'd love to talk to you. We want to strategize and collaborate with you on those key business outcomes and where personalization can step in and help you kind of move those things forward. So please reach out to us. We want to start unlocking, like, we want to help you start unlocking your content and data to craft these sort of next level brand experiences for your customers. Drew, thank you for joining me today. And was there any last words or anything you wanted to say before we close out?
Um, no, good luck. You can do it.
Yes, you can. Please reach out to us. We would love to help you in any way that's possible. And then finally, as always, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.